All right, and welcome back to another weekend coloring tutorial. I'm looking at my monitor because there's something strange going on over here in the camera. Anyway, I'm doing a picture from my Extreme Superhero Coloring book. I took a picture out of this. Actually, I copied this to do a picture from, and this has just got a bunch of pictures in it that I did for people who want to learn how to color. And basically, I did this because I was trying to get into Photoshop, coloring better at Photoshop. So I really couldn't find anything online that was good to color, or that was good for me to color. So I decided to come up with this coloring book here, and yeah, superhero for you. For those who are in the comic books and want to learn how to do coloring, this is pretty good because the pictures are big and simple. So, and some of them have background, some of them don't, but it will allow you to do the body coloring, the contouring coloring of the body, add shine or whatever to it. So pick this book up, and there is a link at the end of the description, at the end of the video, under the description, or where you can pick this book up and some other books that I have done, some of my other books. So since this is a black character, I was looking through my colors to find a good color for the skin. Now you go from like a really light pink to a dark brown, and all the colors really didn't match for me, or they didn't work for me. And so I just started looking through my pens, and I got the Tombow. I had Tombow pens that it was buried under other things that I didn't even know I had. So I'm going to use that, I think, for the first coat. And this thing here, which I can't even pronounce that. I don't know what that's, if that's a yeah. So, and then come back with my Copics pen for shadow, maybe, but it's not a lot of room. So these are the ones that I chose to try to do darker tone skin. So let me zoom in a little bit more so that you guys can see a little closer. All right, so hopefully I won't push it off camera like I do. And I said I need to tape these things down, especially when I'm doing a fast motion drawing. I'm gonna start taping it down, but it's kind of hard to turn your wrists when you're trying to get some of that detail. And I my hat's off to people that can just leave the picture flat like that and then just color or draw the whole thing. I can't do it. So enough talking. Let's start with the coloring. So I'm going to get the face out the way, the skin tone out the way, just to see what we have. So I think the Tombow was first. And then I was going to do shadow. I'm going to try to come back with the Tombow again to do a darker tone. See, unlike the Touch Twins, if you go over it twice, it'll get darker on you real quick. Or you have overlapping colors, which is why I like to Touch Twins, because as long as it's wet, you can go over it, or you can get one shade down without having to, like if I'm touching up on this, it'll probably leave black marks or darker marks. Whereas a Touch Twin doesn't really do that. It's kind of why I like that. Even the Copics will do that. It won't give you that first single shade coating. So first coat, so I'm gonna let that dry a little bit, and I'm gonna go over it again with this. And these, for some reason, are really making the paper wet. That's something else you have to look at when you're doing markers. How wet does it go down? How much will it bleed? So just for the hand, since the hand is simple and there's light, let's just say this is going to be the darker. And a lot of times when it's wet, it'll just blend in. It won't give you that darker shade. One pen I used, it did that. And this thing is so wet, it is kind of almost tearing the paper. So let's do some shading under the eyes. I might not need the other two colors. I do love the point on this. As I say, it is going down extremely wet. Checking my monitor, and my monitor is like right on the side, real close. I think I showed you guys that when I did a room tour. Yeah, see, when it's drying up, it doesn't really leave that darker shade. I'm just a Touch Twin fan. I don't know. I think because I bought the Touch Twins because they're definitely more cheaper than the Copics, and then I was just able to use them right away. They just worked out. So no, I think that was last. So let me try this little thing. And I went through some pens. I bought pens because I wanted to do more coloring. But the thing is, if you're not like a professional colorer, if you don't use markers every day, it's not a good idea to buy them. Until you need them. I'm not gonna say don't buy markers, but you'll have them sitting around, not drying up basically. And I bought one set of the Touch Twins when I first started. That was the first ones I bought because they were cheap. I think it was like $60 for a set of like 80 or something like that, maybe. But as I was looking for a blue for his uniform, most of them are dried up. So you're going to have to buy refills. And that's the thing about markers, alcohol markers, they're going to dry up eventually. Don't even get into the water-based markers because those are they're going to dry up and you're just wasting money. So if you are going to buy markers, or if you have kids that want to get into it, you're going to have to, or it would be best to use alcohol markers, because at least you can use them again once the water-based markers dry up. That's about it. You're not going anywhere with that. You're done. So what is the top lip is darker. Well, both lips are going to be darker, so. And I could use the other one for that. Going now to the COs. The COs are cheaper than the regular Copics. And this was like a skin pack that I wanted to get, which were, still a little dark for the African American skin. Not too much I can do with that face. Because it's so small. So I'm going to leave it at that. Maybe put some brown in his hair. And this is a photocopy. This is not a actual page torn out of the book. This is a photocopy because the book, I guess you have to go to certain places to print out real coloring books to get thicker paper. It's good paper, but it won't hold up under alcohol markers. So the best thing to do, and it was meant for you to take the page out, scan it, and then color it in Photoshop. That was the whole purpose of the book initially. But if you're doing alcohol, copy it on some good stock with cardstock paper, and then you're good to go. So let's get this uniform. And I was like green, purple, black. I was thinking about, black would be kind of tight, but I think I'm going with blue. When I said black, I'm looking at it. Maybe a gray, dark would be nice. Maybe I'll do it again one day in and black and see what happens. So let's do this. You see what I'm saying? I can go over the line that I just did and it will still say stay that one shade unless I go over it like 3 or 4 times. Okay, Brian, use your pen now. Now usually I'll work with it while it's wet and I'll do, you know, some extra colors, but I want it to dry and then add my shadows to it. And as I say, my hats are off. My hat is off to those people that can color without twisting their page. They must have a rotating table or rotating camera and we don't know it, that they are rotating the page or not. Because it's the same way when you ink, you have to turn your page. It's easier to pull than to push your pencil, brush, pen, whatever. And this is a generic character. This is not like a character from a book or anything. I made these guys up because I don't think I can't do a Captain America coloring book without getting sued by Marvel. So these are my characters that I just came up with on the fly. Just basically I did the positions like I do in my position book and I dressed them. I said, okay, this guy's gonna be a whatever and this guy's gonna be a this. So they have no story or no name unless I decide to use them, which I probably will use them one day in a book. It can always be like a supporting cast member in that book. So I want to have these darker, the lower part darker. But unfortunately, I am limited on blue. Unless I go crazy dark blue, but let's work with the top first, and then we will see what we can do with the blue, with the darker blue. Okay, so right off the bat, let me establish where my shadow is going to go and where my light is going to go. So shadow's going to be here. Back in here, because it's just further away from the light. And then I think I'll have it under here. And of course, under the stomach. So you know there's going to be shadow under the chest. And then I had something going on down here. I did a pattern where I wanted the shadow to go. And I did that in pencil earlier. And I can always come back with a white pencil and whiten it out a little bit or take out some of that shadow. So that is my initial shadow, and I can leave it like that and just, I can leave it like that. That's more your cell shading kind of, but I like to get in between my lines to kind of pull them out, pull out the dark and the light and the dark. So let's see what I have that's going to be a little darker. Let's try this. So that blue is really, really not bad. I like that. There's certain colors that will blend really well, like blue, yellow, and orange. But there's some colors that you just have a hard time blending. So, and as far as a uniform, I didn't really give 100,000% thought to the colors, like the accent colors. I know that I wanted this brown because that's going to be leather, and I think these are going to be brown. The sleeves, which it bled into because I was in a rush. Don't know. I know the boots are going to be black. So let's see about a leather brown, which would probably end up the same facial color. You know, the piping, or if that's a piping, whatever. I don't know. I thought about a yellow, but it was too bright. Too bright. All right, I think I found a brown. I'm going to try to use this color. It's miles away from the face, and it can still be kind of a leather color. That and the belt. One thing you have to worry about is bleeding when you have pens, especially fresh markers, is test it out first to make sure it's not going to run into something you don't want it to run into, and leave, like, you know, a couple centimeters of space before you hit the end of your line to give it like bleeding room, just in case it does, or they tend to bleed. I like the brushes because you can get that tip, plus you can cover a lot by pressing down on it. But there are times when the pointed nib will work better. I guess it just depends on what you are coloring. An outside background, you're doing like forest or something like that, that might be, you know, better for a brush. But if you're doing serious detail like buildings, or doing interior stuff, the pen nib might be better. So I'm gonna have to definitely go a little different color with this one, a darker from this one. This is a 104. Let's try this. Now see, one thing, I never took color theory, so a lot of times I'll be mixing and matching, or getting close to what I want to do, as close as I can. Because as I say, I never took a color theory class. I was a natural born artist. All right, let's try this. This is just, I know this is dark. This is really dark, but it'll be good for the sides and shadows. So, still don't know what these are going to be. I don't want to leave them white. I mean, I can, but I don't want to. And it's also the badge. I didn't get thought to the badge. I guess it's yellow. Yellow and red. I probably would have got about 3 colors on there. Yellow and red. And something. Of course, when you design a character, you're going to have to design the colors around what this person is. Like if he's in a city, if he's in a jungle, if he's a what do you call those, like a like the soldier, the special forces kind of person, you don't want him in bright blue. You'd have him in a dark color. If he's more of an urban or jungle, you'd have him more of a green color. So, you know, this guy's kind of like Super Cop Ranger kind of thing. He's got the regular blue. He's like the Lone Ranger. So, you know, you design your color around the thing, the situation. And for some reason, I just thought about Galaxy Rangers, like leaving these pants white with the dark blue. That would be kind of cool. Somebody's like, no, I don't know yet. I don't know. Maybe a gray, a light gray, and then go from there. But yeah, it'd be kind of neat to have a white pants with the black boots and just shadow. And that's the best thing about I was saying when you take a copy. Where's my book? Where's the book? When you take and then just photocopy it. Take something out, photocopy it, and you can make 5 and 6 copies, and you can change your colors up. Do what you want to do. I mean, this could be black pants in one. I'll photocopy it in white, photocopy it in green. So you have like not a 2 for 1, you have a ton for 1. So, because if I mess this up, I can always get another copy from the original and then redo it again. Great practice, great practice. All right, I'm still struggling with what I want to do to the pants. Let me do the boots. And then if the boots look good, maybe I will keep it kind of a light white color first for these boots. And if I left a light, I should have left it right there, but I wasn't thinking. If you have something that is like shiny, like leather or something like that, it's good to figure out where you want to leave a light source. You could leave a light source if the light is coming from the top. Just leave a white, should I say, just your light source. Not your light source, it's just where it's reflecting. Thank you. Reflective light. This one should have been way at the top. So I've got that. So let me go darker. Not crazy too dark. This is G9, G7. And I kind of like those white pants. I'm trying to think, Galaxy Rangers. I don't know if you've ever seen Galaxy Rangers. It was a show in the 90s, I believe. Late 80s, 90s. About Rangers in space. Cowboys, these Rangers, the old school in space. They were Rangers, Galaxy Rangers. And they had special powers, and the powers came from the badge. They had like this badge on the chest, and they would hit the badge and be able to use their powers. And I want to say they had white pants. I'm not sure. Good cartoons, really good cartoon. It's a shame that basically cartoons back in the day, they just make them and they make them and they make them, and they don't really have an end to them, because if the toys sold, anytime they had a cartoon, they made toys from it. If the toys sold, then the cartoon would continue to run. If the toys did bad, then they cut the cartoon. So they never really gave like an ending to any of the cartoons back in the day. They just, just milked it for everything it was milkable for. And then when the sales ran out, toy sales, then they just let it go. So they never really had an end, because the captain, in a nutshell, you had the Galaxy Rangers fighting the evil. I forgot what her little thing was called. Her little organization was called. But anyway, she stole the soul of the captain's wife and kept it in a little crystal. Her essence. So basically, he was fighting the queen's was the realm or whatever, to try to get his wife's soul back. But they had a lot of other missions in between, because they were cops. I mean, people would like smuggle stuff and then, try to rob stuff. So, I mean, it was a good show, but they never really ended it like he got the crystal back that contained his wife's soul, because they put her on ice. They put her in a cryo chamber until they can get her essence back, her soul back. So I'm looking down again. Let's bring this whole thing up so I can find a light pen. And I'm just looking down at my pens to see which would be what a nice light color if I'm going to do white pants, and just to see what color would be what. And you should always have your little color palette so you can test out your colors. That's kind of dark, which is fine. That's even darker. I thought that would be a lighter one. This is the darkest. Too dark. Put that back. So we're going to go with this one first. No. Which one was the lightest? It's between these two. I think it was this one. Dries up lighter. All right, so and then shadow that. So I'm gonna go with white because, you know, and it may make the car yellow to kind of set the whole thing off. And then some red up in here, red and something up in there, up in there. All right, so let's go find out where my basic shadow is going to be first. Mark that out. And that was always one thing when I would ink. I really didn't use a lot of, I didn't like inking because I didn't make my shadow areas thick. And I couldn't figure out the difference between, you know, my inking and a professional inkers. It's because they're not afraid to use a lot of black. They'll make the lines really thick. They'll give a lot of shadow, put a lot of shadow into their drawings. Where I would just do bare minimum, like you see these lines, I just do the lines, and I was afraid to add more shadow because I would screw up. But I realized that you have to just make your shadows really thick, and then it will stand out more. Like as in this line is really thin, so I'll just thicken this line up a little bit. And come back with a darker, which is not too dark, hopefully. Let's see what I get from there. But the thing is, as I say, you can't be afraid to add those shadows. Make those shadows thick. Like, were Galaxy Rangers pants white? I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe because for whatever reason I thought about it. So there's a possibility. So I'm not using my overhead light, which is good because it usually tends to bleach it out. So that's going to be that. Let's do this car. And I said I want to do a yellow, an orange yellow. Truth be told, I've never done a car before. Never really colored a car. Cars have their own way of shining because of the flow of the body, the waves, the dents, what's the word, but they do. Black rubber. Now see, when I drew this, it was a quick drawing because I didn't quite follow the lines that I should have followed, but I know there's black trim around the window, and that's when I say when you decide you want to become an artist, you have to start looking at stuff that you take for granted, that when you start drawing, you're like, what goes here, what goes there, like how bricks connect, and that there's gaps between each bricks where they put the little mortar. Because when I started drawing bricks, I didn't know there was an actual pattern to drawing bricks. And then I didn't know that there was a space between the bricks for the mortar to go. So every car has this black trim, a window seal basically. It's like drawing windows. Windows have frames around them, and then little rest at the bottom, stuff that you just take granted for if you don't really pay attention to it until you start drawing. Okay, so I said I'm gonna do a yellow, and this thing is silver too, because that is a little parking meter. That's like a blue slate. I can find that. As I say, I've really never colored a car before. I mean, but there's you know there's ways to do that because of the shape of the car. But you know, my first car coloring, and this is just a square car, so it really wouldn't have much shape to it. Not the way I drew it anyway. I guess the hard part is going to be doing the windows on it, not doing it, but finding a color that is going to be glass ready color. And I'm looking for a brown or something to put some dents in the door so that you can see, you know, exactly where the bullet hit. It's just like no question. You know, I could put some dirt on the car, some, you know, scratches or something. It's not a new car. It's in a bad area. This is why crime is there, getting shot all up, because it's not a good car. It's not a new car. He wouldn't leave his Lamborghini parked out on the street. All right, let's get some glass color and wrap this up. So that's going to be a really light kind of blue, which I don't think I have a really light kind of blue. Not in this pack anyway. Maybe in the, as I say, I never took color theory, so let's do this. Let's do like a gray kind of blue. You gotta be careful because I already screwed up by letting the color come out. You know, not thinking, because, you know, there could be tinted windows. It could be tinted windows. It could have been all gray, you know, hoodster car. Did you just say hoodster car? Your windows are tinted. I'm a hoodster. But you want to leave some light for like reflection in the glass, for the glass. How long is this thing? 59 minutes to color. So I'll edit it. I'll do a lot of editing. It won't be 59 minutes. Definitely won't be 59 minutes. So on that note, this coloring is over. Double check. I said I wanted to do some burgundy in his belt, just to see what it would look like. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for this drawing, this weekend coloring tutorial. So if you like that, check out more of my coloring every weekend. I try to put a coloring tutorial up every weekend, except this weekend, which is it's the weekend right now. I put up a drawing, so this is gonna go up next weekend. But if you're seeing it, this whole conversation is a moot point. So I try to put up every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Saturday being the coloring tutorials, Monday and Tuesday being the drawing or teaching tutorials. So I also have a kids channel, which I'll tell you more about that, just specifically for children that want to learn how to draw but don't know where to go or how to start. I take you back to the very beginning, and as I say, I'll tell you more about that one later as I get more content going, because I want to get a few things up before I even, announce it. I mean, it's up and live now, but it's only like one drawing from Christmas. So that's it for this. If you like that, give me a thumbs up. Check out the book. The link is in the description, the way you can find this book and my other books. And just come back. Keep coming back. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. And I will see you guys in the next coloring tutorial, which I never even did the front. There it is. There's the front glass. Okay, so I'll see you guys later. Get it straight before you leave. Get it straight. Now, see you guys later. Subscribe.